Chapter 1. The Face of Danish Excellence. You may know Trine Dyrholm from award-winning films like The Celebration, Queen of Hearts, and In a Better World. She has stood at the front of Danish culture for more than 30 years, an actor, singer, and filmmaker whose talent seems almost boundless. But very few knew what was happening behind that facade of brilliance. As she explains in her new interview on DR's program, A Special Conversation, the price of perfection, success, and emotional sensitivity can sometimes be overwhelming, even destructive. Chapter 2. When Success Turns into Silence. Trine describes how, in her late 20s, she was flourishing creatively. Every role came her way. Every performance drew praise. Yet something in her body, and in her mind, began to rebel. She started feeling anxious before going on stage, her heart racing, her breathing shallow. At first, she ignored it. That's what strong people do, she thought. She pushed through rehearsal after rehearsal, until one evening, she simply couldn't. During a theater performance, the fear took over. The sound of the audience blurred, the spotlight cut through her skin like fire, and her body froze. That night, the show was canceled. For the first time, Denmark's seemingly unshakable actress had to step away from the stage. Chapter 3. Facing the Darkness. What followed was a breakdown, not of her career, but of her spirit. Doctors diagnosed her with severe anxiety and a depression that lingered for months. She speaks calmly about that time now, but admits it was terrifying. It wasn't just nerves, she says. It was as if my whole system collapsed. I couldn't control it anymore. Everything I'd been suppressing suddenly exploded. It took therapy, medication, and patience to find her way back. For a whole year, she worked quietly, away from the public eye, to understand herself, to breathe again, and to accept that vulnerability isn't a flaw. Chapter 4. The Return and the Reflection. When she returned to acting, she came back with new eyes. The anxiety would still show up sometimes, unpredictably, even on stage, but this time, she recognized it not as an enemy, but as a message from within. This period turned out to be one of the most formative experiences of her life. It taught her compassion, both for herself and for others who carry invisible battles. In her interview, Trine explains that for years, she didn't want to speak publicly about her mental health. She didn't want pity. She wanted privacy. But now, older and calmer, she believes honesty matters more than pride. Chapter 5. A Deep Human Conversation. The interview itself is striking in tone. It's heartwarming, funny, and thoughtful. Trine sits surrounded by the hosts from TV Glad, a media platform for people with special needs, and she opens herself not to judgment, but to genuine curiosity. They ask questions others might be afraid to ask, about fear, faith, love, aging, and what gives life meaning. She laughs. She cries. And somewhere in between, the audience gets to see her as something far more real than the polished actress, as a woman who, like all of us, is simply trying to live through the chaos of being human. Chapter 6. Beyond the Spotlight. Trine speaks about growing up in Odense, about feeling shy as a child, but finding strength through performance. Acting was her safe space, a world where she could contain her emotions. But as she grew older, those emotions began to spill over. Now, she uses that sensitivity as a creative force. It's visible in every character she portrays. Whether fragile or fierce, her characters bleed authenticity because Trine herself knows what it means to fall apart and rebuild. I think, she says softly, that pain has taught me more than success ever did. Chapter 7. The Power of Talking About It. What makes this moment so meaningful is the vulnerability of someone who didn't have to share any of it. Trine Dyrholm could easily have continued playing strong, silent roles, leaving her inner life a mystery. Instead, she did the opposite. By speaking about anxiety, depression, and self-acceptance, she breaks the myth that strength means silence. Her story sends a quiet but powerful message that fame, confidence, and creativity don't protect anyone from pain, and that asking for help is not weakness, but courage in its purest form. Chapter 8. A Message to Others. Trine Dyrholm's confession arrives at a time when more and more people, in Denmark and beyond, are struggling with stress, burnout, and emotional exhaustion. Her openness reminds us that none of us are alone in that experience. She doesn't glamorize her pain or turn it into heroic suffering. Instead, she shows something deeper, that healing isn't linear. It's slow, it's fragile, but it's possible. As she says, we all have moments when we can't be strong, and that's okay. The important part is not to hide from it. Chapter 9, Life After the Storm. Today, Trine continues to perform, direct, and inspire. She carries both the scars and the wisdom of the woman she once was. Her life now is more balanced, not perfect, but grounded. She's learned that taking time to rest, to feel, even to cry, doesn't make her less of an artist. It makes her whole. And that, perhaps, is the real heart of her story, a reminder that strength and softness can coexist, that creative brilliance doesn't erase human fragility, it grows from it. Chapter 10, The Last Word. Trine Dyrholm's interview isn't just another celebrity confession. It's a universal reflection on being alive, on the hidden weight that even the brightest souls carry. Her courage to sit down and say, "I was not okay, but I got through it," invites the rest of us to do the same. Because sometimes, the most powerful stories don't happen on stage or screen. They happen in silence, in the spaces between breakdown and recovery, when we rediscover who we are. And maybe that's the real beauty of Trine Dyrholm's story. That even after the storm, she continues to shine. Not by hiding her pain, but by transforming it into art, empathy, and light. If you or someone you know is struggling with anxiety, depression, or emotional distress, you can reach out for help. In Denmark, contact Livslinjen at 70 201 201 or find local support hotlines in your area. But even as the credits fade, the story doesn't truly end. Because what Trine Dyrholm teaches us isn't just about fame or acting or art. It's about endurance, the quiet, invisible kind that lives inside ordinary days. Every morning, she gets up and starts again, a new role, a new rehearsal, a new rhythm to face. She knows that healing isn't a straight road. It's a dance between strength and surrender. And maybe that's what makes her work resonate so deeply. She brings her entire life to every performance, including its cracks. Because when we watch her on screen, when her eyes fill with fear, love, or quiet defiance, we are not just watching an actress. We are witnessing someone who once broke and built herself again. Someone who chose honesty over image. So this isn't just Trine's story. It's a story about anyone who has faced their own silence, about remembering that even in the darkest scenes, a light can return. And in that sense, her journey belongs to all of us. Because the courage to keep living, to keep creating, to keep feeling, that too is a kind of art. And so we leave her here, walking forward, steady, unhurried, a little older, a little wiser, but still wide open to life. And maybe that is what strength really sounds like.